And if you look at the graph on a monthly or 2-monthly basis, you see it go up and down. But over time, it's going straight up. So people should be able to very easily make profits continually, either in gold stocks or in the physical market. But I guess if they're watching MSNBC or CNBC, they're not going to tell them these basic facts.
Well, you're certainly right about that. And the coins, they continue to go up. The bullion continues to go up. The graded numismatic coins continue to go up more because there's only so many of them. And the shares have gone up very well. I think that the graded numismatics are way underpriced, and I think they should be selling higher. If you go back to the Great Depression between 1929 and 36, the two leading mines at the time were Dome Mines and Homestake. Dome went up 558%, and Homestake went up 474% during an deflationary environment. Very important, because that tells you that gold-related assets are going to do well whether we have inflation or deflation. It doesn't make any difference. In fact, I would want to own gold-related assets more during a deflationary period, because at least you're going to keep your purchasing power.
Where do you see gold?
And that's very important.
Where do you see gold by year end?
Oh, I think we can easily get to 1650. And it all depends on what happens. If we have an attack in the Middle East on Lebanon, Syria, or Iran, then I would think that that would artificially, probably on a short-term basis, make the dollar stronger, because the United States is geographically far removed from that area. But gold would go up. It would be a perfect scenario for gold, and it's going to get fought all the way. These people behind the scenes in Washington and London are going to do everything they can to keep it down. They will not be successful. In the final analysis, it'll break out and run and go crazy the longer they keep this thing down. They started doing this in 1988 officially and legally. But, I've been in the market since 1960. And in 1960, 60, 67, and 68, they illegally did it. And they did it again October the 19th, 1987. So this is nothing new. They know the power of gold. And if you hark back to what Paul Volcker said when he tried to save the economy, which he actually did during the early 1980s, he said, the only big mistake I made is that I didn't suppress the gold price.
Final question on this issue, then we're going to phone calls and a few other news items I want to go over with you here, Bob, before this hour elapses. It seems what they're doing is trying to just have a slow increase in gold price so people don't psychologically have a gold rush and realize that it's one of the few decent investments out there, and that they understand that psychologically it's then perceived as just moderately good investment because they are able to slow its basic increase.
That's true. And they know in the end that it's going to go up considerably. And they're not too concerned about that because they own a lot of it. How much? I don't know, and neither does anybody else. It's just like we don't know how much gold in Fort Knox belongs to the United States government. We know it's there. I do because I had subscribed as a guard at it. So I know firsthand from them that it's there. But who does it belong to? And is it tungsten bars that's coated with gold? We don't know that. We haven't had an audit since 1954. And it's strange that Congress wouldn't demand an audit just to make everybody happy and shut people like me up.
Well, they're acting very secretively. Let's take some phone calls with Bob Chapman. Thanks for joining us if you just tuned in. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show, the #1 alternative radio program on the globe. The websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And, of course, I'm also a documentary filmmaker, and those are available on the websites as well and at PrisonPlanet.tv. Bob Chapman's excellent website, it's indispensable to understand the economy and politics, is TheInternationalForecaster.com. Let's go to Josh in California. Josh, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Bob. I have a statement and then just a quick question. Quick statement is, my cousin actually just sent me a text saying I should listen to NPR. There's a segment that they just did this morning called Voodoo History, Debunking Conspiracy Theories. So I know there's no question that you are definitely having an effect, because ever since over the last, 2 weeks now or a week and a half, you've been asking us to do the search term. So they're now, the establishment is doing everything they can to use their quote-unquote, progressive radio to try to get the liberal media to push away the conspiracy.
Well, Josh, let me be clear, though. I mean, out of hundreds of prominent people fighting the globalist, myself and Ron Paul are the most prominent. Ron Paul even more prominent, which is actually a scary position to be in, I will tell you. But I don't deserve the credit. You, the listeners taking action, deserve it. But it's more than just Alex Jones here speaking out. If I wouldn't have spoken out and Bob wouldn't have spoken out for 5 decades, myself a decade and a half, you'd already have a big awakening happening because things are so bad and so out in the open. But because we were there being laughed at for decades, some listened, some didn't, now people are really paying attention because patriots, quote, conspiracy theorists, have done a good job of telling the truth. And so we've got a lot of credibility when the mainstream media and government has lost all their credibility. Bob Chapman comments on this because the enemy is pulling out all the stops to demonize us.
Well, there's no question about that. And there's 2 things that bother me. Number one, that we need more help and we need more people on talk radio and writing and telling the world about what's going on. So please come and help us. I'm getting old and long in the tooth. And second of all, I'm deeply disappointed in newsletter writers, with the exception of 3 or 4. All of them who know about what's going on won't talk about it. And I wish they would, because, we could use their help. And yes, we do have the establishment media, the people behind the scenes. They are deeply concerned because we're eating their lunch.
Well, here's the deal, and I want to get your take on this, Bob, and then Josh's, and we'll move on. In the past, they could just say fluoride's good for you, but now all these top scientists that even work for the government have the Internet to speak out, and they're exposing it. So the globalist, and it's the same on the economy, war, terrorism, all of it, they're still playing the old game from 10, 20, 30 years ago in the Cold War, where they could just lie to us. Take the case of Vietnam. 5,000 to 6,000 advisors died in the first 4 years of the secret war from 60 to 64. They would just lie to the public and get away with it. Or they'd stage the Gulf of Tonkin, and it'd take decades for it to come out it was staged. Now, they've been lying and saying they're not naked body scanning people and saving the images, or that it's not dangerous radiation. Now it's come out they lied. And so now they're being exposed pretty much in real time, but they still have the old instincts and old habits of just stonewalling us. And now they look like the naked emperor. Now they look like clowns.
And that's for sure they do.
Let's, Josh, any final comments on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, they're also conditioning us. Look, it's so basic. If you read your toothpaste tube, it even says, do not, if ingest more than a pea-sized amount, call poison control. How do people not see that and understand that it's a poison? That's one. 2, you see the media now pushing American terrorism, American-grown terrorism. All these people are now being arrested left and right, and they're conditioning us to believe that the American people are the next terrorists. It is so blatantly obvious, and this goes into my question, which was, we're focusing a lot on Iran being potentially the next war, which I believe it could be. But what about the threat of the North and South Korea turmoil that's going on? We have China that's doing these military drills, showing their force, showing their power. Hillary Clinton blaming North Korea for that obvious, Gulf of Tonkin situation in South Korea. What are both of your opinions on the potential that it could even be, maybe a South Korea, North Korea that could potentially
Great points, Josh. We're running out of time. Bob, real fast, give us your take.
I think China it would invite war, would want war. 1.4 billion people. They got to get rid of them. They got too many people.
That's why they're eugenicists. That's why they've signed on to it.
That's right. And we still have Venezuela, which they'd like to knock off and show the people in Latin America that the U.S. is still king down there. And so there are other places that can start this thing, or get them all going at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's the word, and they're admitting it now. They are planning to hit Iran and probably Venezuela at the same time through the proxy Colombia. Let's talk to Ryan in Washington. Ryan, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Bob. I'm going to be really quick here. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a bone disease called avascular necrosis. And the doctors have no idea why I got it. Idiopathic is the reason that they gave me. They don't know why. And
really, all the studies show it's directly linked to fluoride.
Exactly, and this is why I started listening to you shortly after I was diagnosed with this, and I put 2 and 2 together, although I can't prove it.
No, that's the major studies. Bone cancer, macular degeneration, all of it. No, that's the government knows that. The doctors, though, block out, because the government's putting it in the water, that can't be it. And then even when the vaccines are killing kids en masse, they come out and say, okay, it's killing them, but you're still a conspiracy theorist for not liking it.
Right. The solution they gave me was find a surgeon. I need total hip replacements, both hips, but I can't find a surgeon to do the surgery, but they want to give me OxyContin or push me on these pain pills, which I have refused.
Yeah, no, they hurt you, they hit you with a weapon, and then they sell you the solution.
So I have refused the narcotics. That's all I really got to say, is I just don't drink the water. Get mad. I'm mad. I'm mad about
Well, what
that.
happens is, and I'm boiling this down into layman's terms from the scientific reports I've read, is it calcifies in the bones, and then it causes abnormal bone growth. And, thyroidism. How many women do you know that are 20 years old and have a thyroid of a 75-year-old? I mean, every restaurant I sit in, half the time I hear women talking about their thyroids. The sodium fluoride. Bob, why do you think the media has come out and admitted they want to put lithium in the water lately?
Probably because it's another blatant move forward in their move to let everybody know how powerful they are.
Exactly. It's, hey, we're going to put lithium in your water, and it's going to be in every major newspaper promoting it. And when Alex Jones comes out and says it's a bad idea, Wired Magazine's going to tell their readers it doesn't exist because they have nothing but contempt for you. We'll be back with more calls. Stay with us.